Hello everybody! In this lesson, we are going to practice how to calculate the slope of a linear curve. Consider the following two examples. Y equals 2 plus 2x, y equals 8 minus 2x. Notice that they are linear functions because the exponent of x is 1. X has no exponent. That's the same as saying that x equals x power 1. Now I already graphed them here. Let's look at some points. For instance, when x equals 0, y equals 2 plus 2x, that is 2. When x equals 2, y equals 2 plus 2 times 2, that is 6. So, I'm going to call these points point A, x equals 0, y equals 2, and point B, x equals 2, y equals 6. So, how do we calculate the slope? The slope is defined as changing y over changing x. Delta means change. Is basically final y minus initial y. I'm assuming I am moving along the curve from A to B. So my y is changing from 2 to 6. So it's 6 minus 2, final minus initial. My x is changing from 0 to 2. So it's 2 minus 0. 6 minus 2 is 4, divided by 2 is 2. Now, because this is a linear curve, I could actually have picked any 2 points. For instance, let's move along the curve, but now from point C to point A. Then, the slope becomes changing y again over changing x. But in this case, my y is changing from 8 to 2. So it's 2 minus 8. And my x is changing from 3 to 0. So it's 0 minus 3. That is minus 6 divided by minus 3, again, equals to 2. You can pick any 2 points in a line. The slope is always going to be the same. Now let's calculate the slope of the second curve. So we can pick any 2 points. I'm going to pick the points 0, 8. And I'm going to pick the point 4, 0. Notice that those points do correspond to the curve because when x equals 0, y equals 8 minus 0 is 8. And when x equals 4, y equals 8 minus 2 times 4, that's 0. Okay, the slope then is delta y over delta x, changing from here to here. That is 0 minus 8 divided by 4 minus 0, and that is minus 2. What are the lessons we can learn from these 2 examples? Well, first of all, notice that when I have an increasing function, as in the first example, notice that the slope is positive. And when I have a decreasing function, such as in the second example, the slope is negative. Also, notice that when a function is linear, I can write it in the following form: y equals a plus bx. A, which is the number that is not multiplying x, is called the intercept. It is just the number where the curve is crossing the y-axis. In the first example is 2. Put the intercept here, happens to be the same number here. And in the second example, the intercept is 8. This number here is always going to be where the curve crosses the y-intercept here. Now the second number that is multiplying the x, call it b, happens to be the slope of the function. Notice that in the first function, the slope is 2, and in fact, when we calculated the slope, that's exactly what we got, 2. In the second function, the number multiplying the x is minus 2. That is exactly what we got when we calculated the slope of the second curve. So, the intercept is a, the number not multiplying x, and the slope is given by b, the number multiplying x. Thanks for listening, everybody.